Alright, so we got the base on. This was pretty easy, pretty simple. First thing I did was attach the two brackets, which is what holds the Gemini unit. They just screwed right in there, already on pre-drilled holes, very tight. Just went perfect, like butter. There's 3 bolts, or 3 screws that screw in here, and you loosen them up. You can slide the base over and then lift it out when you're moving it. But there's 3 of them. One there, there, and there. Again, very, very easy, well machined, very well machined. The next thing we're going to do is put the RA extension kit on there. That's how it comes as standard right now. And from what I'm understanding here, if I see this correctly, is that this plate will line up here and go on there. And then you install the quick release plate. See how it's mounted. And then this piece goes on to the front of that. And you have these 2 locking knobs here to keep it locked into that plate. And then at that point, we're sticking this honking piece of metal on there. So give me a minute to try to figure this one out. Unfortunately, the directions, there's not really any clear-cut directions on this kit as far as like what's going where. So, however, it looks like it's pretty simple to figure out, and so we're going to go for it, and we'll just see what happens. All right, be right back. Okay, so that was pretty easy for the most part. You put this is the standard base that comes with the mount, and there's 4 screws, just like you see here, that go on the inside. This bolts on to here, and then you have the disconnect plate, which then bolts into that. So there's 4 screws there. And then the quick release, which is here, mounts right on. And you got 4 screws here to put that together. And then you actually put the deck riser, this piece right here. You'll wind up taking off these 2 screws, lifting it out, and then attaching this underneath it in order to raise it up a little bit. So hang on, be back in a minute. So this is to install the deck riser. Basically just unscrewed the dovetail, pulled it off, and then this plate, and you'll see where it's beveled down, just sits right on top of there, screws down, and then you just put the saddle plate right back on. All right, be right back. Okay, so we got the riser on right there, and you got to definitely pay attention to what the directions say on this, because it is pretty specific. So when you're putting this plate on, of course, first thing you do, you take the saddle off, and then you have the holes arrangements like you see here on the flange. You want to make sure that your motor is in relation to what they're showing you here. So there's your motor right there, and then you want to make sure that the layout of the plate goes directly where it's supposed to be there. Now the reason why I bring this up is if you notice, it shows a little crescent right here, right? And that's pretty important, because the crescent is to allow that knob right there to turn freely. You can't really see it all too well, but that's allowing your knob to turn in order to adjust your dovetail. And so it's all together. It was actually pretty simple once you just realize what it's doing. But the nice thing here is, again, because it comes apart in 2 pieces for easy transport, you just literally put it over the top. Let's see if I get a good shot of this. And it just locks right down. There you go. And you just tighten up these T-bolts here, and it secures it. And then you are good to go. Look at that. So very easy to take off, put on again. Just screw those out, and you can break it down into 2 pieces. Because just looking at this thing, once again, that's pretty beefy. That's pretty beefy, and I'm not a young guy, but you know, I'm 47. I do work out all the time, but I gotta admit, I had a little bit of a workout getting this thing put together. But look at that, just comes right off. Right off. Whoops, did that wrong. There we go, right back on. All right, we'll keep setting up. Okay, so I got it all put together. You got the feet put on, which you know what, I recommend before you put all this together, get your mount level first, get your feet put on, because this thing is a bear once you get everything on there. And I don't even know to have the telescope on or anything. I mean, this is just the tripod, and man, it's incredible. So the box fits beautifully right there. By the way, this is not plastic. This is all metal. That is nice. Not a bunch of plastic. These are plastic. They're little locking levers to put it on, to put it into the clamps here. But yeah, solid aluminum. That's pretty, well, not solid aluminum, but it's aluminum. Got your clutches here, and your clutch here. Counterweight bar screws up in between the clutch there. The control cables, the motor cables, of course your RA runs right to here, and then your deck comes all the way around and wraps up to there. Now, one of the things I was, let me loosen these clutches. One of the things I was worried about as soon as I put that cable on was, man, that cable's going to snag. And but you know what? It's the perfect length. It is the perfect length. So even if it got trapped underneath that that locking knob, even if you go all the way up, and I am now telescope upside down, that cable's still got plenty of leeway, and it doesn't catch on anything in here. So that's not, you don't have to worry about frayed cables. Very, very nice design. And very fluid. Very fluid. I mean, you can tell there's you know, some friction, or stiction, I should say, maybe, on it. But once you tighten these down, there is, it ain't moving. It ain't going anywhere. So that's pretty cool. That's kind of nice. My CGX, you put a little bit too much on it and those clutches slip, but not here. Not here at all. Another really nice feature. This is awesome. There are levels all over this mount. And I do mean like all over this mount. This is amazing how many different levels you got. And I mean, I carry a level in my kit every time I go out anyway, but you know, every now and then, you know, you may forget it or something, but so it's kind of nice to have those in there. That's just a nice feature. Really nice feature. So, oh, last thing. Remember how I was talking about how the cable was nice and long for the controller? Look at that. Look at that. I am already right here. I'm a good 9-10 feet away, and I'm just starting to uncoil it, to pull it. That is a nice feature. Right there, I'm a good 6 foot from the mount. And that's just unbelievable. That's just great. What a nice feature, Scott. I have to admit, that is a very nice feature. Good for you, man. Good for you listening to the public. Well, I guess that's not going to hold on there. So we got to figure that out, where to mount this thing. That's the only thing, probably the only complaint. And you know what? It's not even a complaint. It really isn't, because, you know, having something to mount that on. But, no, I'm not going to complain about that. That's nothing, man. That is absolutely nothing. So, just a beautiful mount, an absolutely gorgeous mount. I'm just impressed with the way this thing looks. I mean, it is beautiful, just beautiful. So I can't wait to get this outside and get a first light on it, and let's see what happens. So, all right, check out my next video. Be your first light. See ya.